On the 99th episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast, the NFL schedules have been released. We're going to be talking about the NBA and NHL Playoffs. We're going to be ranking the top 5 longest active postseason droughts. Talk about the MLB, ending it off with some Hall of Fame. Yay or nay? Roll. Welcome to HatTrick Sports, starring your host, Isaiah Carpenter. Bringing you the biggest sports headlines every week. This is the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Let's start it off with the NFL schedules. NFL schedules have been released, and this was one of the most creative years that the teams have put together to release their schedules. And I heard that, obviously the teams don't really know what the schedules is until the day before that they release it. So they have all this production and stuff and have to kind of put it in and edit it out kind of as they're being told their schedules, which is a day before that we actually know. But let's start it off with some of the best ones. The Chargers. The Chargers did a very, very good one. This was probably the most complex and advanced NFL schedule release videos that we have ever seen. It was the Minecraft one. I don't know a whole lot about Minecraft, but everything had their own little jokes. So they obviously did the Vikings, everybody. They did everybody. They announced their thing in their own Minecraft thing, and then there was little jokes that went along with it, with different L's and losses and just stuff that have happened in the past to those teams. The Raiders, I think they were playing the Raiders one week, and they popped up a QR code for literally half a second. So I scanned it. I was like, hey, what's going to happen if I scan this QR code? It brought me to the Chargers website, and it said press here if you're a Chargers fan, press here if you're a Raiders fan. So I pressed Raiders fan just to see what happened, and I had to click six different QR codes. It made me go through all these QR codes, and then eventually it just it ended with an L. So that was funny. That was all just incorporated in a half second of the video. It was probably the most complex one. So that was a pretty big one. We have what were some good ones? The Patriots. The Patriots did a really, really good job. It wasn't really complicated at all. All they did was have Dave Portnoy, who is a big Patriots fan, announce the schedules and why they would obviously win that and why they're going to go 17-0. And obviously, the Patriots aren't a very, very good team, at all. But it was cool to see, Dave Portnoy kind of explain, hey, we're going to go 17-0 for this reason, this reason, this reason. And they were all valid reasons, or most of them were valid reasons. Now, obviously, the Patriots aren't going to go 17-0, and they're not going to have a winning record, if we're being completely honest. But for a second there, I was like, hey, they have a chance at winning every single game. But obviously, that's not going to happen at all. Here's a little hot take for the NFL release schedules, release videos. I don't really like the action figures and the retro video games one. I think they're kind of boring. I understand where they're coming from, but I just didn't see like this. The Seahawks did that. They did an action figure commercial kind of thing. I just don't find that interesting. I don't know. And that's come from a Seahawks fan. It's just a little hot take for you guys here. And same with the Atlanta Mario Kart one. They kind of did a retro modern. I know those are exact opposites, but I just didn't really love it. The Rams had a good one. They had this news reporter. Brenda is her name. I don't really know who she is, but she was kind of announcing each draft pick as if she was in a news desk or something. The Bills had one of the best ones. They had Allen Iverson do it, and basically Josh Allen shooting basketballs, and it's hey coach, I'm busy, and he's like, wait, what should I do for the schedule release? And he's like, oh, just use AI. Everybody's using AI, meaning artificial intelligence. And then he pulls up Allen Iverson AI, and he kind of announces, he just holds up a piece of paper. So that part wasn't very creative. He just held up a piece of paper of the schedule. But I kind of like the idea with AI and Allen Iverson. One of the best ones, Tennessee Titans doing schedule Rizzy. So obviously all the weight loss commercials, the Ozempics, the Sky Rizzy, I think is what it's called. All those, they have the same kind of format and template that they all kind of use. And the Titans did schedule Rizzy, where they were talking about oh, what was the good one? They released it. It was football's everything. I don't really know how to explain these commercials, but you all know these commercials. And as they were doing it, they were releasing the schedule on the bottom right kind of corner. They did a really good job. I feel like we've seen that one before. We may not have, but I feel like we saw that one before. The Colts had kind of a weird one. They did a Minecraft one to begin out with. It wasn't as good as the Chargers one, but like in week 1 they're facing the Dolphins. So what they did is they had Tyreek Hill as a Dolphin with a Tyreek Hill jersey and all that stuff, and the Coast Guard's kind of like arresting him. Obviously in September last year he got arrested in Miami PD to catching TDs, and yeah, it was just I thought it was funny. I thought it was comical, but apparently, they took it down. They said that it was disrespectful to Tyreek Hill, that it didn't follow the terms and agreements that Microsoft set for them. Just a whole lot of that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I feel like it's solved by the Colts. Tyreek Hill came out and said he didn't care on Twitter. And then, like, I think everybody thought it was funny. Nobody really took it that seriously. Hey, all his charges were dropped. It wasn't anything serious. I mean, he ended up having a great game that day, and I think we can all laugh over it. Like it's been almost a year since it happened. I feel like we can laugh over that, can we not? Yeah, they deleted it. They shouldn't have deleted it. I thought it was funny. Let's go over strength of schedules. So obviously, there's no real way to find out strength of schedules. It's all kind of like. I don't know. Teams have changed. Like the Seahawks, they have now Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp. Like they lost DK Metcalf, Geno Smith. Aaron Rodgers is still up in the air. There's been a lot of trades and signings and extensions that have happened. But these are the strength of schedules of total win percentage of their opponents in 2024. So the easiest strength of schedule, the easiest schedule will be the 49ers. Now last year, the 49ers had a very, very hard schedule. Let me look up 2024 NFL standings. Here we go. They were last in the NFC West. They went 6-11. This season they'll do a lot better. But again, they had the hardest schedule last season. They ended up getting 4th in the NFC West. I wasn't sure if I thought the Cardinals did worse than the 49ers. But yeah, and then the hardest schedule is the Giants. I mean, the Giants aren't good anyway. Sure, they just drafted. They just had a pretty good draft. But where are we? Here we go. But yeah, they were 3-14 last season, and then you're gonna punish them more by giving them the hardest schedule. Obviously, it's not like college football where it's like they kind of like I don't really know how to describe it. They don't really pick the schedules. Like it's all like. Compared to like their division, they're equivalent to another conference, to all the other divisions. Like that's how the schedule is laid out. But yeah, they have a super hard schedule, and it's gonna suck for the Giants. I mean, they're not gonna be worse than they were last season, but they're gonna be almost equivalent to that. So yeah, everybody kind of knew that the teams that they were playing, but they didn't know like when or where and all that kind of stuff like that. So the Giants had the hardest strength of schedule, and it's all like all the bad teams last year should have a pretty easy strength of schedule, or equivalent to what they are now, and that's just kind of how it always plays out every year. Let's talk about the travel of each team. So obviously, all these teams came out; they know like what their home and away is and stuff like that. Take into this in mind. The circumference of the entire Earth is 24,901 miles. Now, compare that to the Chargers, who have to travel 37,086 miles this entire season. They are traveling around the world like 1.5 times this season in I guess, 18 weeks. It's just a lot of back and forth. Their schedule is a lot like home, away, so they have to travel back and forth compared to some teams that are just like home, away, home, like kind of like that. So it's not really their fault. It doesn't really affect anything. It's just kind of cool to see. And then the Bengals have the shortest distance travel. Again, they have a lot like home, where they don't have to travel for like 3 weeks, and then like away, where they don't have to travel for a couple weeks. And then they have a lot of their teams are kind of close to Cincinnati, but they only have to travel 8,753 miles. And then like the average is about 20,000 miles. Around 20,000 miles is about the average, which is still a lot. They're traveling about the circumference of the entire Earth in a season. Again, it doesn't really affect them. They're not like squished in economy or something like that. No, they all have their own private. The team has their private jet that the team can like walk around on. Like it's not like you're flying commercially, so it's not a big deal. It's just something cool to look at. I really like looking at this kind of stuff. One of the biggest. Oh, that's funny. United Airlines comments on that. One of the biggest contracts of the offseason, if not the biggest contract extension of the offseason, Brock Purdy signing a $265 million contract for 5 years with the 49ers. He will become the 7th or 8th highest paid QB in the NFL right now. $100 million is 100% guaranteed, and then I think it's up to like $165 million guaranteed with it's a $53 million average annual value of the deal. Like I said, it's tied 7th at quarterback behind Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, and Tua Tagovailoa. That's crazy that Tua's getting paid more than Brock Purdy. But this is what every team needs to know right now. Every team needs to know if they have a franchise QB. Now, not every team does, but if they have a QB that they want for the next 10 years, sign them now. And this goes with any sport. There's going to be billion-dollar contracts in the next 10, maybe not in the NFL, but like in the MLB and stuff, there's going to be billion-dollar contracts in the next few years. Sign your guys now, because guess what? Even if you have the highest paid QB right now, at the end of their contract in 10 years, they're going to be like 32nd in line. They're going to be the 32nd highest paid QB. They're going to be they're not going to be paid much just because of how like this is going. I mean, imagine 10 years ago. What was the highest paid QB in 2015? Ben Roethlisberger. He signed highest paid $48.9 million for. Let me look up more of this. I didn't really come up. $114 million. It was something around there. 80. Yeah, he signed. Okay, here it is. Ben Roethlisberger signed a 4-year, $87.4 million deal in 2015. That was the highest paid QB 10 years ago. Now we're over $200 million later. Now what's going to happen in 10 years? Sign your franchise QBs now. I'm telling you, it's the smart financial decision. Now, if they're a bust, hey, there's a bust. Hey, you lost it. The return on investment was not good for you. Like Brock Purdy, I like it. I like how it's a 5 years. They've paid him fairly. Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, I think the dude's going to be pretty well, especially with the 49ers having an incredibly easy schedule. I think that was smart for them to sign him. But yeah, just sign your QBs now. Sign them now, especially if you know like you want them for the next few seasons. Let's talk about the playoffs. You have the NBA and NHL playoffs. Now, we're going to first start off with the NBA playoffs. The Thunder and Nugs, the best 2 words in sports is Game 7. The Thunder and the Nuggets are playing each other. Now, the Nuggets, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, they have played 14 playoff series together. Out of those 14, 13 of them have gone to Game 7. Now, out of those 13 Game 7s, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray have won 10 of them. So that duo is incredibly good in Game 7s. But on the other side, you have the Thunder. The Thunder have had the best season in franchise history, going 68-14. They are heavily favored to win this game, and I think that they will win this game. But it would not surprise me if the Nugs try to pull a little upset. I mean, and then it would be Nugs Timberwolves. I think that the Nugs could win that. And hear me out. The game's in 3 hours, and by the time this comes out, the game will be done. But if the Nuggets win this Game 7, they have a chance at the championship. Now, they have to win this Game 7. They have to win this. If they don't win it, obviously they're out. But the Thunder will be their biggest competitor throughout this entire postseason. Because if they make it to the championship, they would have to play either the Pacers or Knicks. And I think that either one, if not both of those teams, could beat them. But it would be a lot closer than this series against the Nugs. Like, the matchups would be a lot closer than the Thunder and Nugs. The Nugs just need to play this game for the rest of their season. Like, if they win this, they have a legit chance at becoming NBA champions. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying that it's likely. I'm just saying that there's a chance that they win the that they become NBA champions if they win just this one game. That's all they have to do. I think whoever wins, no matter what, Thunder or Nuggets, they'll beat the Timberwolves, and then they'll go on to the NBA the finals. And then you have the Pacers and Knicks. Game 1 is not tomorrow. In a few days, on the 21st, you have the Pacers and Knicks. This is going to be close. Not both games. The Pacers beat the Cavs in 5 games, so I think that the Pacers will ultimately, be better than the Knicks, just because of how, dominant they were against the Cavs. The Celtics and Knicks. I thought that the Celtics were going to try to come back. No, they absolutely sucked. I mean, the Celtics had one game to keep, their postseason chances alive, and they absolutely blew it. The biggest win in Knicks postseason franchise history. It's one of those stats. I hate those stats, but I had to say it. So I think that the Pacers could beat the Knicks. So I think that the Pacers move to the finals, and then I think either the Thunder or Nuggets move to the finals, depending on who wins this Game 7. This Game 7 means a lot in the NBA playoffs. Let's move on to NHL, the NHL bracket. We still have the Panthers and Maple Leafs. They have to win. The series is tied at 3. Whoever wins Game 7 moves on. The Panthers and the Maple Leafs. Where's Game 7 being played? Toronto. Yeah, it's gonna be tonight. Yeah, right. Tonight. It's gotta be tonight. 7:30. Whoever wins this will move on and play the Hurricanes, and then that series starts in a few days. And then you have the Stars. The Stars beat the Winnipeg Jets just last night in overtime. It was a close game. It was a really, really close game. And then it went into overtime, and then the Stars ended up winning. But they are going to be playing the Edmonton Oilers. That series is going to kick off on Wednesday, May 21st. Make sure to tune in and watch that. So yeah. That's going to be fun to watch. These playoffs are getting interesting. They're getting fun to watch. When does, I may have already gone over it, but when does the NBA playoffs kind of start? Or not playoffs, the next round, the 20th. The 20th and 21st is when the conference finals start. What else we got? We got the top 5 longest active postseason droughts across the 5 major U.S. sports. We have MLS, NBA, NHL, MLB, and NFL. I think I said all of them. But yes, let me move over here. At number 5, you have the MLS Chicago Fire FC. They have gone 7 straight seasons without being in the postseason. The team absolutely sucks. I follow a little bit of MLS, especially Orlando City. But yeah, Chicago Fire FC. It's just an easy win every single time. They're bad. They're bad. They've gone 7 straight years without making the postseason. At number 4, you have the Charlotte Hornets. They have gone 9 seasons without making the postseason. Their last playoff appearance was in the 2016 Eastern Conference Finals, where they got first rounded by the Miami Heat. At number 3, make a podium, the Los Angeles Angels and the MLB. They have gone 10 years without making the playoffs. I mean, what a waste of a career from Mike Trout. It's unfortunate. I mean, there are guys who play an inning in a season and get a World Series ring, and then there's Mike Trout being one of the greatest baseball players of our generation who can't get a ring just because he plays on the Angels. It sucks. It sucks to see. But the Angels, they just suck. They had Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout on the same team, and they couldn't make the playoffs. They absolutely suck. At number 2, in the NHL, you have this Buffalo Sabres. They have gone 14 years. 14 years. The last postseason appearance was in 2012 in the Eastern Conference quarterfinals versus the Flyers. And then the number 1 longest active postseason drought by a sports franchise is the New York Jets. They have gone 14 seasons without making the playoffs. Their last postseason appearance was in 2010 in the AFC Championship game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So those are your top 5 longest active postseason droughts. It's a long title. It's a long title. Let's move on to MLB, Major League Baseball. What do we got going on TikTok first? Nothing much. Yeah, I didn't think so. if you guys are watching on TikTok, make sure to follow if you aren't already. We are using a new mic. See, I'm tapping this new mic on the TikTok live. Let me know if you guys can hear it. I don't even know if you guys can hear me talking right now. But let me know if it's like loud, quiet, staticky. I've never used this mic before. There's just a cable coming out of the phone right now. So if somebody wants to put something in the comment, if you guys can even hear this, I don't know. But MLB. Let's move on here. Austin Barnes, the Dodgers DFA designated for assignment. Austin Barnes, he's been playing for the Dodgers for 10 years, since 2015, and he has done a lot more than what people are willing to admit. He's had a rough couple of seasons. I mean, I'll be completely transparent about that. But for him to be go like this isn't right. I wish that they had him play one last game with Clayton Kershaw. Obviously, the only reason why Austin Barnes was still on the team is because of Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw doesn't like throwing to Will Smith. It's just what he prefers. So he's always pitched to Austin Barnes, other than Andre Ethier and before Austin Barnes, whatever. But they just DFA'd him out of nowhere. And I feel like that's kind of not Bush League, but I feel like that's kind of soft by the Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw is finally coming back, making his season debut. You could have Austin Barnes catch that one game. We lost that game anyway. It was last night. We lost that game anyway. But they did call up Dalton Rushing, who is the top catching prospect in the MLB. And so far, he has been absolutely immaculate. He has had 9 at-bats so far. Again, this is as of about noon on Sunday, May 18th. He has had 9 at-bats. He has had 4 hits. He is batting .444. He has 4 runs, 2 RBIs. His on-base percentage is sitting right exactly at 500. He's slugging .556, OPS of 1.056 with a 201 OPS plus. Now, I understand that he's only played a few games. He's only played a few games with the Dodgers, but he's been doing absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he is better than Austin Barnes. Obviously, I am sad to see that Austin Barnes isn't with the Dodgers anymore. And I'm excited to see what Austin Barnes does. He's going to get picked up by a team. I can almost guarantee it. He's a good catcher. He's just not for the Dodgers. He's just not at the expectations that the Dodgers have set. So yeah, sad to see, but Dalton Rushing, future looks very, very bright for him. Young guy. How old is he? He is 24 years old. Again, like I said, he was the 15th top prospect in the MLB, and then the number 1 catching prospect in the MLB. Let's look at what he's done. In 2020, he played for Louisville, ACC, CCC. When did he get called up? Well, obviously he got called up. He's been playing for the Oklahoma City. He did not play for the Dodgers. Oh, all right. But yeah, he. Oh, that's age differential. I need wins. I don't know. But yeah, he's looked good. He's a great prospect. He's been doing great in the MLB the last couple games. Excited to see what he holds for the team and the Dodgers. And maybe Will Smith did just sign a pretty big contract. But hey, maybe give Will Smith a little bit of a break. Use Dalton Rushing maybe as a DH or I don't know. He's looking really, really good. I don't know what they have in store for him. I think that they just kind of replaced him with Austin Barnes. But, yeah. Sad to see Austin Barnes go. Can't wait to see what Dalton Rushing has for the Dodgers. Here's something that Rob Manfred has been kind of talking about for the last few years. Pete Rose, obviously the lifelong ban of the Hall of Fame, but just last year, Pete Rose did die. Pete Rose is not a good person in general. Outside of baseball, not a good person. Bet on baseball. He said that he only bet on his team, blah, 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 blah. Could have caused pitchers injuries. Not a good person at all. You do not want him to be the face of the MLB. You don't want him to be associated with the MLB. I understand he was one of the greatest baseball players of all time. He did take steroids, whatever. Everybody took steroids. I don't think the same about Barry Bonds. Whatever. Pete Rose is not a good guy. Rob Manfred upheld the lifetime ban of Pete Rose to be in the Hall of Fame, and he is now eligible to be in the Hall of Fame. Now, what Manfred's argument is hey, his lifetime's up. He had a lifetime ban. Hey, he's no longer alive. So I kind of do like that. His punishment was he couldn't live to see the day that he made into the Hall of Fame. He's not in the Hall of Fame. No, he's not in the Hall of Fame. And the same thing's happening with Shoeless Joe Jackson, except it's just 100 years ago. but he's not in the Hall of Fame. He's just eligible to be on the ballot. Now, I think that the Baseball Writers Association of Baseball, whatever it is, WBCAA, whatever it is, I think that they have more morals for the sport than to vote Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame. So I don't think that he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, at least not in the voters and the writers that are voting right now. Baseball Writers Association of America, BCAA, I think that's what it is. But he's eligible, which is a little scary. I don't want him to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm very, very much against Pete Rose being in the Hall of Fame. I love what he, as a physical specimen and as a player, he was absolutely phenomenal. As a person, he was not. He was not a good person. He was not a good person in baseball or outside of baseball. Not a good guy. You do not want him associated. You don't want people looking up to Pete Rose. That's just it. You don't want people looking up to Pete Rose, and that's kind of what this upheld ban is kind of doing. Like, hey, people are starting to kind of look up to him again. Don't. It's a trap. Don't look up to him. Orioles fired their manager, Brandon Hyde, after an incredibly slow start to the season. I mean, where are we? The Orioles are last place in the AL East. They are behind the Blue Jays and Rays. That's how bad they are. As a matter of fact, they are 5.5 games behind the Rays. They are 15-29. They had to fire somebody. Somebody had to be held accountable, and it was their manager, Brandon Hyde. Last year was their year. The last couple of years have been their year, and they just blew it into the playoffs. They're hoping a new leader can spark a turnaround on the most disappointing team in the Major League Baseball. That is not an understatement. They are the most disappointing team in Major League Baseball. Hyde managed the Orioles through the ends of their rebuild and helped lead their team the past 2 postseasons. Oversaw an underwhelming start. Again, like I said, they are 15-29 after Saturday's 10-6 loss against the Nationals. 10.5 games back. The third base coach is going to take the position of manager right now. As the head of baseball operations in Baltimore said that the poor start of our season is ultimately my responsibility. Orioles general manager Mike Ellis said in a statement, part of that responsibility is pursuing difficult changes in order to set a different course for the future. I want to thank Brandon for his hard work, dedication, and passion all these years, and for returning the team to the playoffs and winning the AL East championship, and stuff like that. Somebody had to go. Somebody had to go for the Orioles. It just had to happen. They are literally the most disappointing team in the MLB right now. I thought their future was high. I thought they were going to try to fight with the Red Sox and Yankees, but no, they are 10.5 games back in the AL East. Sad to see. Let's go over some more MLB stats right now. The Angels are doing pretty good for themselves. 19-25. They did pretty good against the Dodgers in the Dodgers series. They have one more game, but they have won the last 2 against the Dodgers. Let's talk about the Rockies. They have gone up to 8-37. Last year we were talking a lot about the White Sox and how they were their winning percentage was 2.237 or something like that. It was something crazy like that. And I remember talking on the podcast. I just scrolled past the video literally yesterday or something, and I was talking about hey, that is a bad batting average. I was talking about that. I was like, if a team's win percentage is worse than the average batting average in the MLB, they are a horrible team. The Rockies' winning percentage is a .178. They are winning 17% of their games. They suck. This is the worst team I have ever seen in my life. Their away record is 3-21. Their last 10 games is one of their best records in the last 10 games. 2-8. That is one of their best records they have had all season in their last 10 games. Absolutely horrible team. They are 20.5 games back into the season. Less than 50 games into the season. Horrible. Are they going to be 60 games back by the end of the season? The Dodgers haven't. The Dodgers are 5-5 in the last 10 games. They're not doing good right now, and yet they are still 20.5 games better than the Rockies. 46 games into the season. Horrible. Horrible Rockies. I meant to look this up. I meant to look this up before the podcast, and I just forgot about it. Yeah, here we go. So I heard a lot of people, and especially in this past week I'll start this up by saying I've been watching Jarren Duran a lot. I've been watching the Red Sox a lot. Obviously, the AL East is a great division right now. The Red Sox are doing pretty good there, 23-24. The Yankees obviously are a lot better. But Jarren Duran has been batting leadoff, and I saw him in a 2-run home run last night. So I've been watching him a lot the last couple weeks. You know, he's been in the news a lot. He's becoming a lot more relevant. That's not the right word, but it's true. He's becoming a lot more relevant in the MLB. And a lot of people are saying, oh, he's only relevant because of the tennis racket situation that happened in August last year. Oh, he's only relevant because he was talking about the mental health struggles that he had in the Red Sox documentary a month or so ago. No, I hate how people are saying that is why he has been put on the map. The reason why I know who Jarren Duran is because of the 2024 All-Star Game. If you guys remember, he absolutely balled off last year. In the 2024 All-Star Game. He did absolutely incredible in the All-Star Game last season, winning All-Star MVP, and that's what put him on the map. That is what made him relevant, not the tennis racket situation, not him talking about his mental health on the Red Sox documentary. It was because of his talent. Credit deserves where credit is due. However, credit is due where credit is deserved. However that quote goes, he deserves the credit from that All-Star game. That is what put him on the map, and he has been pretty good ever since. I mean, so good that he's batting leadoff now for the Red Sox and hitting. I think he has 3 home runs on the season. But what's his batting average? Jarren Duran stats. I just don't like it how people are underlying Jarren Duran. I mean, this season. Right now, he's batting .262, which is above average. He has 24 runs, 27 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, a .309 on-base percentage, .406 slugging, .715 OPS with a .99 OPS plus. I mean, Jarren Duran is good, and people will hate to admit that he's good. People will think that the only reason why he's relevant is because of the tennis racket situation. I just heard some people say that the other day, and it kind of made me mad. I mean, the dude's not great, don't get me wrong, but the dude is better than what people are putting him as. But yeah, let's move on to Hall of Fame, yay or nay. A little loud there on the mic box. Hall of Fame, yay or nay. We're doing Pete Rose. Hey, heads up, big fat nay. I don't even have to look at his stats. I don't care about his stats. He's not a good person. You don't want him to be looked on with the MLB. You don't want him to be associated with the MLB. You don't want people to look up to him. You don't want him in the Hall of Fame. It is a nay. Pete Rose is a nay for me. He always will be a nay for me. Betted on baseball. Ruined him. Like, he did this to himself. Not a good person inside of baseball or outside of baseball. So that is what I have. It is a nay. And that is all we have for you on the 99th episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Thank you guys for watching the 99th episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Make sure you follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. You can listen wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. Even your Alexa can play us. And including YouTube for all the visuals. And we'll see you guys next week for episode 100. All right, that's a wrap.